Close your eyes and picture the perfect tropical beach. What do you see? I am willing to bet it. It's relentless sunshine, blindingly white sand, and water so blue it looks edited. It is a calendar image, a screensaver, a universal symbol for escape. But what if I told you that this postcard version is merely the beach in its most obvious, simplistic guise? That you are missing its most dramatic, transformative, and spiritually profound performance because you've only ever seen it in intermission. We are chasing an incomplete fantasy. The true soul of a tropical coastline is revealed under the harsh, judging eye of the midday sun, but in the chaotic, intimate embrace of a rainstorm. This is not a setback to your vacation. This is the upgrade you never knew existed. Forget everything you think you know about paradise, because today we are stepping into the tempest. We are going to explore a tropical beach during a rainstorm, not as a ruined day, but as a front row seat to one of nature, as most breathtaking ballads, a multi-sensory experience where the elements conspire to create something more alive and resonant than any static blue sky scene could ever hope to be. The journey begins not with a warning rumble, but with a palpable shift in the very fabric of the air, that initial, unmistakable moment. The sun might still be technically shining, but its warmth turns vague, its light takes on a curious, metallic quality, as if the world is being viewed through a thin sheet of gold leaf. The breeze, that ever-present gentle caress, dies an abrupt and unsettling death. The world holds its breath. The usual soundtrack of the tropics, the constant rustle of palm fronds, the distant crash of waves seems to be muted, sucked into a vacuum of anticipation. This is the prelude, a silence so dense you can feel it on your skin. In this quiet that you first notice the scent. As the smell of ozone, sharp and clean, cutting through the heavy perfume of frangipani and salt. As the smell of electricity, of impending creation. It's nature's version of an orchestra tuning up. Then, on the horizon you see it. Not a cloud, but a wall. A vast, towering, purplish-gray curtain advancing with a silent, terrifying dignity. It doesn't look like weather, it looks like a landscape on the move, a new mountain range forming before your eyes, swallowing islands and skies in its path. This is the main event approaching, and its scale instantly redefines your place in the world. You are no longer a tourist, you are a spectator to geological scale theater. The first sign of contact is not rain but wind. It returns with a vengeance, not as a breeze but as a proclamation. It whips across the lagoon, scouring the surface of the water into a froth of whitecaps, turning the serene turquoise into a churning, moody slate gray. The palms are no longer dancing, they are straining, their long trunks bending in arcs you'd think impossible, their leaves shredding into frantic, green streamers. Sand begins to fly horizontally, stinging any exposed skin, etching new, temporary topography into the dunes. The sound is a roar, a primal exhale that drowns out all thought, and then the temperature drops. It's a sudden, dramatic plunge, a 10-degree shift in as many seconds. The clinging, oppressive heat is sliced away, replaced by a cool, thrilling breath that raises goosebumps on your arms. This is the final cue. The first drop is a solitary scout. It hits your shoulder, a fat, cold explosion that feels more like a small pebble than water. Then another on your head. Then 3 on your arm. They are deliberate, spaced out, testing the terrain. For a few seconds you can count them. Plink, 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 plink. And then the curtain is fully drawn. The sky, now fully claimed by that immense purple wall, simply opens. This is not rain as you know it in the city, a drizzly gray affair. This is a tropical deluge, a vertical ocean. It falls not in drops, but in solid, relentless rope of water, a billion liquid threads weaving a shimmering, roaring veil between you and the world. The sound is immediate and all-consuming. It's a hiss, a roar, a relentless static that vibrates in your chest. On the thatched roof of a hut, it's a frantic, deafening drumming. On the broad leaves of a banana tree, it's a rapid-fire, hollow patterning that quickly turns into a continuous cascade as the leaves funnel the water into gushing spouts. The world beyond your immediate shelter simply vanishes, blurred into soft, impressionistic smears of green and gray. This is the heart of the storm, a moment of pure, unadulterated elemental power, where the only thing that exists is the rain itself. You are inside the weather, not just observing it from a safe distance. Every sense is hijacked. The smell is now petrichor on a monumental scale, the profoundly sweet, earthy scent of billions of raindrops hammering into dry soil, releasing geosmin, the aroma of life itself. It's the smell of the planet quenching a deep thirst. The air tastes clean, washed, ionized. You are immersed, and in this immersion, a strange thing happens. The initial shock gives way to a profound sense of peace. The rain's white noise creates a cocoon, a sonic blanket that smothers all the petty mental chatter. There is no room for anxiety, for to-do lists, for anything but the present, physical reality of the storm. You are forced into mindfulness by a typhoon. This is the secret no travel brochure will ever tell you. A tropical rainstorm is the world's most powerful meditation retreat. It demands your presence and rewards it with a cleansing of the mind as thorough as the cleansing of the land. You stand there, soaked to the skin, cool, alive, and utterly insignificant in the best possible way, watching as the paradise you thought you knew is utterly, beautifully unmade before your eyes. But this transformation is not just atmospheric, it's a complete physical and biological rebirth of the landscape. And to witness, it is to see the beach not as a photograph, but as a living, breathing, and desperately thirsty organism. Let's start with the sand, that iconic symbol of static perfection. Under the sun, it's a dry, hot, and almost sterile expanse, each grain separate and shifting. The first waves of rain hit this parched surface, and for a moment, it resists. The drops create tiny, precise craters like miniature moon landscapes, each one surrounded by a dark halo of moisture. But as the deluge continues, resistance is futile. The sand's character changes completely. The dry, blinding whiteness darkens to a deep, rich caramel. The grains cease to be individual. They are bound together by a thin film of water, becoming a cohesive plastic canvas. This is no longer loose sand, it's a sculptor's medium. And the rain is the artist. Every drop, every rivulet begins to engrave this canvas. Tiny streams form, seeking the path of least resistance toward the sea. They branch and fractalize, creating ephemeral dendritic patterns that look like capillary networks or the bare branches of winter trees, etched in negative relief on the dark sand. These are temporary tattoos, drawn by the sky, lasting only until the next tide or the next downpour. They are a reminder that the beach is not a permanent entity, but a fluid, ever-changing interface, a ledger where wind, water, and time constantly write and rewrite their history. This runoff is the beach's circulatory system, finally pumping, and what it carries is life. The fresh water, saturated with dissolved minerals and organic matter from the inland soil, races toward the salt water. Watch the point where a newly formed stream meets the ocean. It's not a gentle merging, it's a frantic, churning interface where two worlds collide. The fresh water, often stained a faint brown with tannins from leaves and soil, fans out into the salt water in delicate, swirling plumes like ink dropped into water. This is a vital nutrient injection, shot of adrenaline for the coastal ecosystem. This freshwater pulse carries nitrogen, phosphorus, and other compounds that are manna from heaven. For phytoplankton, the microscopic algae that are the foundation of the entire marine food web, a rainstorm, therefore, is not an interruption of life on a tropical beach, it is its catalyst. It's the event that kickstarts biological productivity on a massive scale, feeding the small to feed the large in a cascade that can ultimately lead to more fish, more birds, more of everything. Now, turn your attention to the water itself. The ocean during a rainstorm undergoes a total personality shift. Its surface is a mesmerizing study in texture. From a distance, it looks like it's boiling. Up close, you see the reason. Each raindrop, upon impact, creates a perfect, momentary crown, a tiny, upward splash that is instantly replaced by a rising bubble from the crater. Billions of these events happen simultaneously, creating a surface that is a chaotic, frothy lace of white, a phenomenon sailors call a rain sea. This surface texture dramatically changes the ocean's color and reflectivity. The mirror-like, deep azure that reflects the sky is gone. Instead, the water becomes a matte, muted slate gray, a steely, serious color that absorbs light rather than reflecting it. This is because the rough, foamy surface scatters light in all directions. The sound here is a multi-layered symphony. There's the higher-pitched, crisp patter-patter sizzle of the rain on the water, distinct from the deeper drumming on land. Underwater, the sound is amplified. Scientists have recorded that the noise of heavy rain is one of the dominant sounds. In the ocean, a pervasive static that can be heard by marine creatures for miles. For them, a rainstorm is a deafening event, possibly masking other sounds, a time to lay low, or, for some, to hunt differently. And then there's the interaction between the cold fresh water and the warmer salt water. This creates convection currents, subtle vertical movements that can stir up nutrients from the deeper layers, adding to the post-storm fertility. The waves often become confused. The wind associated with the storm might be blowing onshore, trying to build up waves, but the sheer weight and pressure of the rain pounding the surface acts as a suppressant, flattening and chopping the swell into a disorganized, jumbled mess. Swimming in this is a surreal experience. The top foot of the water is noticeably colder and fresher, a stark contrast to the warmer, saltier water just below. You can feel this stratified boundary on your skin, and looking up from just beneath the surface, the world above is a shimmering, silvered ceiling, each raindrop impact creating a brief, glowing pinprick of light if the sun is trying to fight through somewhere. It's like being inside a kinetic, liquid kaleidoscope. This entire process, the sand carving, the nutrient rush, the ocean's texture change is a cycle of renewal. The beach is being scrubbed clean. Dust, pollen, insect remains, and human traces are washed away. Fallen coconuts and debris are rearranged. The stagnant freshwater pools and the rock crevices, which might have been breeding grounds for mosquitoes, are flushed out and refreshed. The storm is the ecosystem's hard reset button. It clears the old, delivers essential resources, and prepares the stage for a new burst of growth and activity. It's easy to see a rainy day as the beach being closed for business. But in reality, it's the backstage crew working frantically, the director setting the stage, the writer drafting a new script. The main show, the sunny, calm, life-teeming paradise we love, is entirely dependent on these intense, dramatic intervals of chaotic, creative destruction. To see a tropical beach in a rainstorm is to witness the most critical backstage work of one of Earth's greatest productions. If we peel back another layer, beyond the immediate sensory spectacle and the physical transformation, we find a world of fascinating science and profound metaphor operating in this tempest. Let's start with the very architecture of the storm itself. That towering purple wall you saw approaching, that's likely the leading edge of a cumulonimbus cloud, the king of clouds, a giant anvil-shaped beast that can soar over 12 miles into the atmosphere, penetrating into the stratosphere. Its purple-gray hue isn't just a trick of the light. It's a sign of its immense density and depth. Sunlight is struggling to pass through it, with the blue wavelengths being scattered away, leaving the longer reds and purples to give it that dramatic, ominous color. Inside that cloud, a violent factory is at work. Powerful updrafts, fueled by the intense heat and humidity of the tropics, carry warm, moist air upward at speeds that can rival a commercial jet. As this air rises, it cools, and the water vapor condenses into countless tiny droplets, releasing latent heat which fuels the updraft further, creating a self-sustaining engine. Within this churning mass, ice crystals form at the frigid higher altitudes. These crystals collide with supercooled water droplets, growing through a process called accretion, eventually becoming hailstones that are kept aloft by the powerful updrafts until they grow too heavy and fall. In a tropical storm, they often melt into rain before hitting the ground, contributing to the intensity of the downpour. The electrical activity, if present, is another marvel. The collisions between ice particles and water droplets separate electrical charges, with lighter, positively charged ice crystals being carried to the top of the cloud and heavier, negatively charged particles sinking to the bottom. This separation builds up a massive voltage difference, millions of volts, until the insulating capacity of the air breaks down and we see that brilliant, jagged discharge, lightning. The thunder that follows is the shock wave from the rapidly heated air along the lightning channel expanding explosively. On a tropical beach with a flat horizon, you can see the celestial light show in its full, terrifying glory, a reminder of the raw power contained in seemingly fluffy clouds. But the science isn't just above you, it's under your feet and in the air you breathe. The intoxicating temperature scent has a precise chemical origin. When rain hits dry soil, it traps tiny air bubbles in pores and cracks. These bubbles float upward and, upon bursting, aerosolize various compounds including geosmin, an organic compound produced by soil-dwelling bacteria called streptomyces. Our noses are exquisitely sensitive to geosmin. We can detect it at concentrations as low as 5 parts per trillion. This sensitivity is evolutionary. It may have helped our ancestors locate sources of fresh water. So when you smell that beautiful earthy scent, you are literally inhaling the essence of life-breathing bacteria, a chemical message from the soil announcing its revival. Furthermore, the rain also releases volatile oils that plants have deposited on the ground during dry periods, adding citrusy, herbal notes to the aroma cocktail. This isn't just a smell, it's a complex chemical broadcast of renewal. Now let's delve into the metaphor. A tropical beach in a storm is the ultimate narrative of contrast and coexistence. It's the marriage of fire and water, not as conflict, but as a necessary partnership. The storm's energy is solar fire, stored in the warm ocean, transformed into atmospheric fury, and released as life-giving water. It's the cycle made visible. The beach itself represents the frontier, the permeable boundary where opposites meet, land and sea, fresh water and salt water, solid and liquid, calm and chaos. The storm forces these opposites into a frantic, fertile dance. This makes it a powerful metaphor for creativity, for emotional catharsis, and for resilience. Think about it, the most beautiful, lush, and biodiverse places on Earth. Tropical rainforests and coral reefs are directly dependent on these periods of intense, sometimes violent, delivery of resources. Without the chaos of the storm, there is no paradise. Our own lives are mirrored in this. Periods of calm and sunshine are necessary and enjoyable, but it is often the storms, the challenges, the upheavals, the emotional downpours that force growth, cleanse our perspective, and deliver the nutrients for our next phase of development. The storm strips away the non-essential, just as it strips away the dust and debris from the beach. It forces a reset. Standing on that beach, feeling small and insignificant, can be a deeply therapeutic humbling. In a world where we are constantly encouraged to be in control, to optimize, to curate our perfect sun lives, the storm is a magnificent, uncontrollable force that reminds us we are not the directors of this play, but participants in a much larger, more magnificent and untamable system. There's also a lesson in impermanence here. Every pattern etched in the sand, every swirling freshwater plume, every specific configuration of lightning in the sky is a unique event, never to be repeated exactly. The storm teaches you to appreciate the moment, the now, because this particular arrangement of chaos is fleeting and exclusive to your witness. It's a live performance with no encore. This aligns with philosophical concepts of mindfulness and non-attachment. You cannot hold on to the storm, just as you cannot hold on to any moment. You can only experience it fully as it happens, and then let it go, trusting that its passing has left the landscape both external and internal refreshed and ready for what comes next. The rainstorm, therefore, is far more than a meteorological event. It is a physics demonstration, a chemistry experiment, an ecological catalyst, and a profound philosophical teacher, all woven into one overwhelming sensory experience. It shows us that beauty is not synonymous with serenity, that power can be generative, and that the most profound peace can be found not in the absence of chaos, but in its very center. By understanding and surrendering to its essential, renewing role in the great cycle of things. As the zenith of the storm passes, a new act begins the aftermath. This is not merely the end of the rain, but a second transformation, often more subtly beautiful than the fury that preceded it. The deafening, monolithic roar of the downpour begins to fragment. You start to hear individual layers again, the louder patter on broad leaves over here, the softer gurgle of a gutter over there, the persistent drip, drip, drip from the eaves. The solid curtain of water thins, becoming a shimmering veil, then a mist, and finally, just a memory hanging in the air. The wind, having spent its fury, retreats to a whisper. And in this newfound quiet, the world seems to be collectively exhaling. The first thing that often happens is a dramatic, almost theatrical revelation of light. If the storm has passed in the late afternoon, the low-angled sun, now unopposed, can break through the retreating cloud bank. This is when the magic truly reaches a crescendo. The sunlight, filtered through the billions of residual moisture droplets, still suspended in the air, creates a phenomenon of staggering beauty. Rainbows are the most famous ambassadors of this phase. A double rainbow with its reversed color order and darker band of sky between the arcs is a common prize for enduring a tropical shower. But look closer. You might see supernumerary bands thin, pastel ribbons of pink and green inside the primary rainbow's violet band. You might see a circular rainbow of sorts in the mist on the hills opposite the sun. And then, if conditions are perfect, you might witness a rare and breathtaking specter, the brockenbow, or fog bow, a ghostly white rainbow that appears in the fog rising from the freshly drenched, warm sand or from the ocean surface. The playa. Light doesn't stop there. Every surface becomes a jewel. Droplets cling to every possible anchor point, each one a perfect lens refracting and reflecting the golden light. Spiderwebs, previously invisible, are suddenly strung with diamond necklaces. Palm fronds glow a vibrant, saturated green, their dust washed away, their photosynthetic machinery thrilled by the moisture and light. The wet, dark sand now becomes a mirror, reflecting the spectacular sky, creating the illusion that the sky is both above and below you, doubling the beauty. The color palette of the entire world is intensified. The greens are deeper, the browns richer, the flowers more vibrant, as if the storm has dialed the saturation of reality to its maximum setting. This is a photographer's holy grail, the moment known as the golden hour on steroids. But the beauty isn't just visual, it's auditory and olfactory as well. The acoustic landscape is now a delicate symphony of dripping water. 1,000 tiny clocks ticking at different rhythms. The birds, who had fallen utterly silent during the storm's peak, now emerge tentatively, then triumphantly. Their songs seem louder, clearer, and more urgent, as if they are announcing the rebirth of the world, reclaiming their territory from the elements. You'll hear the chatter of Ufundamashu, the cooing of doves, and the raucous calls of parrots or seabirds returning to patrol the shore. The air is so clean it feels like you're breathing for the first time. The scent of petrichor is still there, but it's joined by the sweet fragrance of crushed, wet grass, blooming flowers releasing a new wave of perfume, and the crisp, salty tang from the stirred-up ocean. It's the smell of absolute freshness. Now, step into the water. The ocean has undergone its own post-storm metamorphosis. The chaotic, foamy surface has calmed to a gentle oil-like swell. The runoff streams are still feeding into it, creating fascinating, layered salinity zones you can feel as you wade out. Often, the storm has churned up the seabed slightly, bringing cooler, nutrient-rich waters to the surface. This can temporarily reduce visibility for snorkelers, but it has a small price to pay for the vitality it brings. Within hours, fish become more active, drawn to the influx of nutrients and the stirred-up microorganisms. The beach itself is a changed kingdom. It has been redesigned. New tide pools have formed in depressions. Shells and coral fragments have been uncovered, arranged in new patterns along the high tide line. The sand is firm and cool underfoot, perfect for a brisk, invigorating walk. The entire atmosphere is one of catharsis and euphoria. There is a shared, unspoken camaraderie among anyone else who weathered the storm. You exchange smiles with strangers, a silent acknowledgement of having witnessed something special. This post-storm period is arguably the most precious time to be on a tropical beach. The oppressive heat is gone, replaced by a clean, cool, and energizing warmth. The crowds that flee at the first drop are still absent. You have the renewed, sparkling world almost to yourself. It feels exclusive, like a private viewing of nature's masterpiece. This is the beach, as true reward for those who understand its complexity, for those who don. See rain as a cancellation, but as an intermission leading to a more spectacular second act. It's a lesson in patience and perspective. The immediate, easy beauty of a sunny beach is given to everyone. But the deep, layered, earned beauty of the post-storm paradise is reserved for those who are willing to stay, to witness the process, to appreciate the cycle in its entirety. It teaches us that the most stunning vistas often lie just on the other side of discomfort, that tranquility is most profound when it follows tumult, and that nature, in its infinite wisdom, always balances intensity with serenity, destruction with creation, and noise with the most profound peace you will ever experience, a peace that doesn't just exist around you, but within you, washed clean by the storm. So where does this leave us? We've journeyed from the tense anticipation of the storm's approach through the cathartic fury of its heart, explored the science and metaphor in its chaos, and basked in the transcendent beauty of its aftermath. We've seen the beach not as a static postcard, but as a dynamic, breathing entity that is most alive during what we mistakenly call bad weather. This reframes the entire concept of a tropical getaway. It challenges the very definition of paradise. Paradise is not a permanent state of sunny blandness. It is a cycle, a narrative with conflict and resolution, tension and release. It is the full spectrum of experience, from the serene to the sublime to the downright terrifying. A tropical beach without the occasional storm would be like a symphony without crescendos, a story without a plot, a person who only ever feels one emotion. It would be incomplete, sterile, and ultimately less alive. The storm is what makes the sunshine meaningful. The contrast is everything. By seeking only the perpetual sun, we are chasing a half-truth, a facade. We are booking a flight to see only the cover of a book, never daring to open it and read the turbulent, beautiful, and deeply moving story inside. This understanding empowers us as travelers and as human beings. It frees us from the tyranny of the perfect weather forecast. Next time you see a cloud on the horizon of your vacation, don't groan in disappointment. Lean forward in anticipation. Prepare to engage. Put on appropriate clothing not to hide from the experience, but to comfortably immerse yourself in it. A light rain jacket, quick-drying shorts, and a sense of adventure are your tickets to the greatest show on earth. Find a safe, semi-sheltered spot, perhaps under a sturdy thatched roof, a covered balcony, or even just a large, leafy tree. Leave your electronics safely protected and just be present. Feel the temperature drop. Smell the ozone. Watch the wall of rain approach. Let the first cold drops hit your skin. And when the deluge comes, don't retreat behind glass. Step to the edge, let the spray kiss your face, listen to the orchestra, and feel the cathartic power of it all. Allow yourself to be humbled, to be small, to be cleansed. Practice mindfulness forced upon you by a billion drumming drops. Then, as it passes, be the first to emerge. Walk the freshly sculpted sand. Witness the light show of rainbows and glittering droplets. Breathe the washed air. Wade into the invigorated ocean. You will feel a connection to the natural world that no perfectly sunny day spent slathered in sunscreen and scrolling through your phone can ever provide. You will have a story that goes beyond the weather was great. You will have an experience that reshapes your aesthetic and spiritual understanding of beauty. This philosophy extends far beyond the beach. It's a template for embracing life's inevitable storms, the personal, professional, and emotional downpours. We spend so much energy avoiding discomfort, chasing an endless summer. But what if we learned to see our challenges not as ruinous interruptions, but as necessary, transformative storms? What if we could trust that on the other side of that chaos lies a renewed perspective, a cleansed emotional landscape, and a brighter, more saturated version of our lives? The tropical rainstorm teaches resilience not through stubborn resistance, but through graceful acceptance and the knowledge of renewal. It shows us that destruction and creation are two sides of the same coin, that to have one, you must sometimes endure the other. So I urge you to make a new kind of travel pledge. Don't just chase the sun, chase the experience, chase the full story. Book your trip to the tropics with a secret hope in your heart, a hope for at least one magnificent, booming, drenching afternoon storm. Plan for it, wish for it, because when you get it, you will receive the ultimate gift. You will see the soul of the beach laid bare, and in doing so, you might just catch a glimpse of a deeper truth about the beautiful, chaotic, and endlessly renewing cycle of life itself. You will have moved from being a passive consumer of scenery to an active participant in the elemental drama of our planet. And that is a memory, a feeling, and a wisdom that no amount of sunshine can ever bleach away. It will stay with you, a cool, clear pool of clarity in your mind long after your tan has faded. If this journey through the storm resonated with you, if it changed how you see a rainy day, then your mission is clear. First, smash that like button. It tells the algorithm this kind of deep dive content matters and helps others find this perspective shift. Second, subscribe and hit the notification bell, because this channel is dedicated to peeling back the postcard to reveal the real, complex, and awe-inspiring stories of the natural world. We go beyond the obvious, so you never see a landscape the same way again. Most importantly, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a tropical rainstorm? Did you hate it or, like me, find a strange peace in it? Do you have a completely different, bad weather beauty spot, a desert, in a flash flood, a mountain in a blizzard? Let's build a community of thoughtful travelers and nature observers in the comments below. Share your stories, your photos, your revelations. Tell me what other postcard cliches you want us to explore next. And finally, if you know someone who needs a new perspective, who dreads a cloudy forecast, share this video with them. Send them this link. Let's spread the word that paradise isn't a weather condition. It's a state of mindful engagement with the magnificent, untamed, and beautifully imperfect world around us. Now, go outside, rain or shine, and look at it with new eyes.